Hi, this is Dr. Cora Stack here. With all the talking, with all the meetings and so on. Gone a bit hoarse like other people, other candidates. But I think I've uncovered a major issue here, which I'll share with you because I've been trying to solve this puzzle for a long time. I'm pretty much close. Oh, it's you couldn't write the script. So the title of the video is Structural Unfairness in Ireland's Protective Disclosures Law, a Constitutional Crisis. So imagine uncovering constitutional wrongdoing, only to find the very laws designed to protect whistleblowers are structured to make sure your evidence never reaches a courtroom. That's the reality in Ireland today under the Protective Disclosures Act. And it's not just a legal technicality, it is, in my opinion, it's scary I think, a structural unfairness that insulates public bodies from scrutiny and leaves citizens carrying the entire burden of accountability. Now, who would be behind that kind of sneakiness? In this video, I'll break down a supplementary statement on structural unfairness that I'm drafting at the moment for a case next week, highlighting how the Protective Disclosures Act of 2014, as amended in 2022, was deliberately designed to prevent certain disclosures, even those concerning constitutional wrongs, from ever reaching the courts. This isn't theory, it directly impacts the 2025 presidential nomination process in Ireland, raising profound questions about democracy, transparency and accountability. Is that surprising? From all the comments on my YouTube, is that the one that's getting all the comments? And so the things that count as irrelevant wrongdoing are risks to health and safety racing around there, which all those meetings, mismanagement of a public body, gross waste of public funds and abuse of power authority. So, but here's the catch. In Section 7C, Part 3, inserted in the 2020 amendment, it says the Commissioner shall not investigate or make findings in respect of a disclosure. His or her function is limited to transferring it to the relevant body. Very sneaky, allegedly. This means that the Commissioner cannot decide whether a disclosure is genuine, but in particular refer to the courts, or safeguard the public interest when constitutional wrongs are at stake. That's brilliant, isn't it? In other words, the Office of the Protective Disclosure Commission has been structurally disabled from ensuring accountability. That's no wonder everybody's complaining in Ireland. Now I know why. This is exactly why Ireland are so are saying we're being run by a dictatorship. Sure, isn't this all part of it? That the hiding of wrongdoing through all kinds of sneaky things done to prevent the wrongdoing from being exposed in any kind of way. So the consequence, every single burden falls back on the individual whistleblower or truth teller. This means that if you expose wrongdoing, you must take on the litigation personally, financially and emotionally. Yeah. Even when the issue is constitutional, systemic or national in scale, there is no independent route judicial oversight. This is structural unfairness baked into law. Blocking accountability. This structure ensures that protective disclosures about constitutional mismanagement, such as in the 2025 presidential nomination process, are kept from judicial oversight unless the private citizen drags the motion through the courts. What? I mean, it's ridiculous that I had to do this yesterday. Absolutely. But I can see now that it was all, it was all designed in such a way that they thought I'd never reach the course. And I mean, no one wrote the script. That it would be me that would be taking them on. The one who wrote the first paper, which they, based the stitch of a commissioner's post box office. Worse still, crucial documents evidence may never enter the public record despite being of public interest. This isn't just inconvenient. Well, this style video is very inconvenient for certain, people. Very inconvenient. The inconvenient truth. It's directly contrary to the spirit of whistleblower protection and to the Irish Constitution, which demands accountability in the exercise of public. Well, I mean, this is what democracy is all about. So when people are saying, "What democracy?" in that big YouTube video, well, here's the reason why. One of the main reasons: a system designed for obstruction. The reality is this: by legislative design or deliberate omission, the framework prevents constitutional wrongs from ever being independently escalated. I can't believe that I'm becoming a constitutional expert from a mathematician. Well, I suppose there's being a mathematician, if you're very forensic, but it's fascinating stuff, really. And that is, if you're stuck on it and you find you're finding you're coming across walls and walls, then you can't figure out why this is happening. This explains it now. This compounds the unfairness seen in the 2025 presidential nomination process, and exposes how institutional arrangements can be structured to obstruct rather than enable democracy. So, what relief is should be sought here, I think. Recognition that the Protective Disclosures Commission is legally barred from referring constitutional matters to the courts. That's clear. Recognition that legally ordinary citizens alone to vindicate constitutional rights at enormous personal, financial, emotional cost. The appeal is for the courts and for the public to acknowledge this procedural injustice as part of a broader pattern of obstruction and mismanagement. If Ireland is to uphold democracy and constitutional integrity, this flaw in the protective disclosures framework must be confronted. So, in closing, this is not just about one case. This is the point. It's about whether Ireland's democracy has real checks and balances, or whether structural unfairness will continue to shield institutions from accountability. If you found this breakdown important, which is in my mind, it's critical. Shares structural unfairness thrives in silence, and it's time we spoke up. And I want to thank everybody, on that long video there for contributing all their points, because I think this is not just of national importance, but it's of global importance. So, all of those shared videos are about how people are controlled, the way people are controlled and silenced using these kind of, incredibly sneaky type of structures. I mean, it beggars belief that, of course, I never thought I'd come along and spot it all. And now I'm putting it back to them next week. Sure, it says what it says, and it is what it is. And it's shocking, absolutely shocking. But in a way, it's good for me, because I've come to the end of the road in terms of solving the puzzle, and it's up to them now to defend the indefensible. Thank you.